Welcome back to the CryptoBot channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Ethereum is attempting a break to the downside, which we need to be paying attention to. So later in this video, I'll be talking more about that alongside Bitcoin as always in just a moment, so definitely stick around. First of all, looking at this 12-hour Bitcoin chart, and obviously we still have this active bearish divergence in play, which is telling us we have a loss in bullish momentum within this uptrend that we've seen over the past 1 month or so. But considering this chart right here hasn't really changed over the past 1 week, I won't be spending too much time on this chart. So heading straight into the next Bitcoin chart, which is still using the 12-hour time frame. And right now we can see the Bitcoin price at the time of recording this video is running into this uptrend line of support. And this line of support is coming into play at around 22.3k approximately. So if the Bitcoin price starts breaking below around 22.3k, then obviously that is not a good signal for Bitcoin. We need to see a bounce pretty soon in order to remain within this uptrend that we've been in over the past 1 month. But obviously if the Bitcoin price does end up confirming a break below around 22.3k, then that would be our first sign on this chart right here of a potential reversal here. But it is important to mention that we'll still need to see some more confirmation, such as a possible daily candle close or a retest, for example, confirming that previous support into new resistance. And if the price of Bitcoin does end up breaking below around 22.3k, then I'll be targeting towards around 21.7k as our next short-term level of support. And anything below that, and I'll be targeting down towards around 20.7 to 20.8k. And this is obviously basing off Fibonacci levels and also looking at that previous low that we formed around a week ago. And as I've been discussing for quite a few days now on this channel, we need to keep an eye on the 12-hour Bitcoin MACD because we're still seeing declining bullish momentum throughout this uptrend that we've been in over the past 1 month or so, which is technically a sign of weakness. So the basic summary of the 12-hour Bitcoin chart is that technically speaking, we're still in this bullish trend because technically we're still forming higher lows and higher highs, and we haven't actually broken this support as of recording this video. But with that being said, we do have signs of weakness within this bullish trend, such as this declining bullish momentum or this bearish divergence, for example. And these signs of weakness showing a lack in bullish momentum could potentially result in Bitcoin breaking below this uptrend line of support. And a signal like that would further confirm a bearish scenario on the 12-hour Bitcoin chart. But when you zoom into the shorter term, taking a look at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously on this time frame, we can see more of these short-term downtrends and uptrends. And if we're looking at these shorter term bullish and bearish movements, then technically over the past 5 days or so, we've already been in a short-term bearish trend just on the 4-hour time frame. So once again, on the 4-hour chart, we have a smaller bearish trend, a shorter term bearish trend within a slightly larger bullish trend that has been lasting for around 1 to 1.5 months. But then technically speaking, this bullish trend is still within a much larger bearish trend that is on the weekly time frame, for example. So as always, it is important to understand the difference between different time frames, because some time frames could be looking more bullish while other time frames, let's just say in the short term, could be looking more bearish. And in fact, since my last video, we did end up seeing a bit more of a rejection from this 5-day simple moving average, which did act as perfect resistance for the price of Bitcoin. And technically speaking, if you're looking at what's happened previously over the past 1 month or so, when we get a rejection from this 5-day simple moving average, obviously that's a short-term bearish signal indicating that we're due to see more bearish price action potentially over the coming days. And if you're looking at the price oscillators on the 4-hour time frame, starting off with the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI, technically speaking, this still has some room left to the downside because we're not yet in oversold territories, but we're getting close to oversold territories. So I'll be keeping a close eye on that moving forward. And also the 4-hour Bitcoin MACD has moved back into the red if you're looking at the histogram after having that false bullish cross just yesterday. But obviously we saw a lack in bullish momentum on that bullish cross, which I talked about in my last video. But despite the false bullish cross just yesterday in the 4-hour Bitcoin MACD, more often than not, this indicator is more accurate than inaccurate. For example, the last bullish cross before that false signal just yesterday was back here towards the end of July. And then we immediately saw more bullish price action in the short term for Bitcoin. And then the one before that was right back here towards the middle of July. And then we saw more bullish price action. And the bullish cross before that occurred towards the beginning of July. And right after that, we saw more bullish price action. But even though the MACD indicator is more accurate than inaccurate, obviously from time to time, just like pretty much any indicator, we do see some false signals every now and again, which is why it's very important to never rely solely on one indicator, and why I always cover more than one indicator in my videos. Because what we need to look for to be confident in a move in the price of Bitcoin is confluence across multiple indicators or price targets for patterns, for example, which basically means if we're looking at, let's just say, 5 different indicators and one of those indicators is bullish, but 4 of those indicators are bearish, then we simply have more bearish confluence, which gives us more confidence in the bearish move playing out. And technically speaking, in the short term here, just on the 4-hour time frame, we do have more bearish confluence for Bitcoin. We have a downtrending 4-hour Bitcoin RSI. We have a 4-hour Bitcoin MACD sitting in the red if you're looking at the histogram. And of course, the price of Bitcoin recently rejected from the 5-day moving average. So due to all of this, my short-term strategy hasn't changed since right up here, which basically means I'm still currently shorting Bitcoin, as I've been talking about basically every day since right up here above 24K. And then when we start to see more bullish signals across these indicators, then I'll start to rotate some of the profits from my short positions back into Bitcoin. But in the meantime, congrats to those of you who have been watching my videos over the past 5 days or so, because you would have seen this short-term downside movement coming before it even happened. But anyway, heading into the Ethereum part of this video, this right here is the 12-hour Ethereum chart. And at the time of recording this video, the price of Ethereum is trading below this uptrending line of support, which is sitting at just above 1600, more specifically at around 1620. So in order for the price of Ethereum to avoid a break to the downside here, we need to quickly see a reversal back above around 1620 to 1630. But if we don't see that, then we're simply seeing a break to the downside from this rising wedge pattern, which is technically a bearish pattern, meaning that it's more likely to break to the downside than to the upside. But technically speaking, at the time of recording this video, we do have a lack in confirmation for this break to the downside as of right now, because we need to see at least a daily candle close below around 1620. And if we end up seeing a lower low form right here, which means Ethereum breaking below this previous low sitting at around 1560, then that would give us even more confirmation in this move to the downside. And in that case, if we break below that previous low, immediately I'll be looking towards this 23.6% Fibonacci level, which is sitting at just above 1500, more specifically at around 1510. And anything below that, I'll be looking towards the 38.2% Fibonacci level, which is the second most important Fibonacci level, and that is coming into play at around 1360. And not only is that important Fibonacci level coming into play at around 1360, we also have this previous low also coming into play at around 1360. So we have some important confluence around 1360, give or take, which means if we see some more confirmation in this bearish scenario playing out on the 12-hour time frame, then that's where we could be heading next. And as for the technical price targets for this rising wedge pattern, I covered those price targets in a previous video that I posted just 2 days ago. So if you missed that video, not my last video, but the video before that, then definitely check that one out. And while we're on the 12-hour time frame, obviously we're still technically seeing this bearish divergence active and in play. And keep in mind, the last significant bearish divergence we saw here on the 12-hour Ethereum chart, and this is also visible on the daily time frame as well. The last time we saw this was right back here towards the end of March, entering into early April, and we can see what came next. So all I'm saying is after we see a significant rally within technically a larger bearish trend, and especially if we're seeing signs of weakness within this bullish momentum, then this is just a time in the market to be more on the cautious side, if anything else, which is why I've personally protected myself from downside risk with short positions. Now, it is important to mention that that is not personal financial advice, because obviously I don't know your personal situation, but based on my situation and my crypto portfolio that I'm currently holding, which right now is currently very heavy in Bitcoin, rather than selling some of my Bitcoin, which will be tampering with my long-term strategy, I'm simply hedging against that Bitcoin with short positions. And if there's any beginners out there, a short position basically means I'm making profits if the price is going down. But anyway, taking a look at the short term for Ethereum, this right here is the 4-hour Ethereum chart, and right now we're still trading below that 5-day moving average after seeing a bit of a rejection just yesterday. And so technically speaking, as I've been saying for the past few days now, if Ethereum is below this 5-day moving average, we're looking slightly more more bearish than bullish in the short term, and I would only begin to flip more bullish again in the immediate short term if we see a confirmed break above this moving average, which is currently coming into play at around 1640 to 1650. Because if you're simply taking a look at all of the other times over the past 1 month or so where Ethereum has broken above this 5-day moving average, that has provided a perfect bullish signal for the short-term Ethereum price action. And technically speaking, we still have a short-term level of support, this 23.6% Fibonacci level, when drawn from this swing low to this swing high just on the 4-hour time frame, and this short-term level of support is coming into play at around 1560 approximately. So those are the short-term levels of support and resistance that I'm currently watching. And of course, I'm also keeping an eye on the 4-hour Ethereum RSI and the 4-hour Ethereum MACD, which are technically looking slightly more bearish than bullish at the moment. But if this RSI puts in a higher low, and especially if we come back up and form a higher high, obviously that could be the beginning of another short-term uptrend in the 4-hour Ethereum RSI, which is technically more of a bullish signal. So I am watching out for that, but as of right now, this hasn't fully been confirmed. And if you want to know how to open and close long positions and short positions in order to maximize your profits, whether or not the price is going up or down, check out the video in the top left of your screen popping up right now. And the video in the bottom left of your screen shows you how to make money in a choppy sideways price range. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.